have an offering, if you don't download something, I can say this, I don't really mean this. Give the old man 5 minutes. I need to explain to you what just happened. I didn't know this like this at first. But in 1 Samuel, 3rd chapter, somebody said, why didn't we have 6 speakers? Why don't we have 2? Why don't we have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th? I just want to let the Bible speak for itself real quick. And when I do, I want to talk to the teenager for a second. In 1 Samuel, in the Message Bible, the messages have been spoken, they have been clear. But let me help you explain to you what you just went through that you may not have understood. There was a young man by the name of Samuel in the Bible, and prophet Eli had been with him, and I'm not going to go into the story. I'm just going to let the Bible speak for itself. One thing I'm most proud of is that these young people used the sermons that spoke to them and spoke to you and spoke to me. I saw you taking notes. Just like always, you got 4 sermons at one time, the way you understood it. But let me share with you where it comes from so that you don't think this is some gimmicks that we do. In the Message Bible, the 3rd chapter, you'll read it on the board with me, and I'll go fast. The boy Samuel was serving God under Eli's direction. There was a time when the revelation of God was rarely heard or seen. So one night, Eli was sound asleep. His eyesight was very bad. He could hardly see. It was well before dawn. The sanctuary lamp was still burning. Samuel was still in bed in the temple of God. Then God called out, Samuel, Samuel. Samuel answered, yes, I'm here. And he ran to Eli saying, I heard you. Here I am. The first time he said, Samuel, Samuel. Samuel said, I heard you. Here I am. Eli said, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. So he did. God called again. Samuel. Samuel. Samuel got up and went to Eli. I heard you call. Here I am. Again, Eli said, son, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. Now remember this next statement. This all happened before Samuel knew God for himself. Some of you are waiting for you to know God before you think God's calling you. But before he knew God, while he was shooting up, while he was partying, while he was lying, while he was stealing, while he was in church every Sunday, giving nothing, receiving nothing, when everything in his life was going bad, God said, Samuel! And so Samuel ran to the man of God and he said, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. I got a little loud on that part. That's the preacher coming out. I'm sorry. Let me just... But some of you are waiting on, you're waiting to change before you think God's going to call you. He's calling you now. You waiting on things to get better. He's calling you at your worst. You don't even want to hear him, things are going so bad, but he's still. Again, God called Samuel the 3rd time. And yet again, Samuel got up and went to Eli. And he said, I heard you call me. Here I am, Pastor. And that's when it dawned on Eli that God was calling the boy. So Eli directed Samuel, go back and lay down. If the voice calls again, say, speak, God. I'm your servant. I'm ready to listen. Samuel returned to his bed. Then God came and stood before him exactly as before, calling out, Samuel, Samuel. Samuel now says, speak. I'm your servant, and I'm ready to listen. And then God said to Samuel, listen carefully. I'm ready to do something that's going to shake everybody up and get their attention. Some of us, God got to fight with us about what time to come to church, how long to stay at church, what to give in church, who you going to bring in church, what you got to change and put on, what you got to take off, who you can't hang with just to get your cooperation. God said, I'm about to do something, and I'm going to do it this time without you. I need every teenager in this house. Come here for a minute. I don't care how long it takes you, wherever you're sitting, come here. We're going to get ready to go home, but every teenager, we're just going to make some time. Come here. Every teenage boy, every teenage girl, Samuel! Come here. I don't care if you've been lying about being a teenager. God knows your real age. Come here. You're not 20. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm not about to embarrass you. I'm calling you because I'm about to do something, and I'm going to shake up some things. You've been sitting in the back, but God said, I've given you a front seat mentality. There are people waiting on you to come forth, and you have been waiting and listening to somebody else. God says, it's me, and I'm calling you, Samuel. I have called you 3 times today. I've given you your 4th call. Some of you are in a hurry to get home. But if you look around these walls, you'll see that God is pouring in. Why is he having to beg you when he's pouring in? He's pouring in. God has got to force nobody to serve him. He just made a call. He made a call in the days of Noah, and ravens came, and elephants came, and all the animals came, because God made a call. I don't know your name, but you just proved to me you know God's voice. And he just said, come. Now, I know who I'm talking to. I don't know your names. I don't know a lot of your faces. I didn't even know some of you were teenagers. I'm amazed. But you didn't get rid of your sin before you came. I didn't give you a chance to stop and confess in the lane, in the aisle, and lay on your face and say, God, make it right. But touch somebody and say, I'm here. You didn't get a chance to change your lifestyle. You didn't get a chance to tell your same alternative lover that I'm done with that. You didn't get a chance to do anything, but you just answered the call. God says, I will work with you. I will change you. I'm getting ready to do something. I'm going to need you to help me shake it up. I'm going to need you to help me shake it up. Now, I know I'm talking to some guys or some people here now that probably say, well, you know, I'm not really into all of that, Pastor Rush, and, you know, I'm just here, and then my friend brought me in, so I'm not really paying much attention to you. I don't like this church. I'm just here because my buddy was on program or whatever. But there was somebody here that said, I didn't expect God to do this today. I didn't expect him to. You're the person who has been coming to church all your life. Samuel was in church. Samuel was very churched. And he was going through all of this stuff. You say, I'm in church all the time, but I'm going through all of this stuff. And some of you don't like church people, and you've almost turned against Christians because some of your best friends were Christians, and some of the people you knew were Christians, but they're messing up. And you said, how can they still be in church? Let me explain to you, babies, what this is. You see, the church is full of people who had to come from the world. Stop expecting us to come from somewhere else. We didn't fly out of heaven and just land here. We got the same wrongs, the same sins, the same faults, live in the same mess, endure the same trash. And God had to use us. That's why when you come in church, you see a lot of messed up people from the world, because that's where we all come from. And the church is the street that we travel to get changed. But he told him, he said, Samuel, I want to do something. I know you got your own life and you're doing good and you're in your world. And it's hard to explain your world to anybody, and I don't want to understand your world. I don't want to understand your world. I want you to understand how he loves you in your world. You have a place on this stage, and it may not be at IBOC, but there's a platform. God says, I need to use your mouth. God's been talking to some of you. Because at this altar there are some songs that have not been written or sang before anybody. There are some dreams. There are some politicians. There are some doctors. And he's saying, I need to talk to you. Now here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to dig inside of yourself and let yourself go for a minute. I'm about to make all of hell mad. Now I'm going to have some people that won't like me. And I know by the time the sermon is over, somebody's going to be all tore up and mad. I'm used to that, because when you do what God says do, hell says, can I just distract it? I want you all to lift your hands like this. And I want you to lift your hands. Because when you lift your hands, you're surrendering. And all I want you to do is say two words. Say, speak, Lord. Say it again. Say, speak, Lord. God's going to start talking to you. You're going to hear those voices. Some of you are like, Pastor, I hear voices, I hear voices, I hear voices. They think I'm crazy. I can't explain to them what I'm hearing. When I was just a boy and God was birthing this inside of me, I couldn't talk to anybody. They thought I was crazy. They thought I was missing my mama, but God was messing with me. And every time I went to the preacher, he said, just go back. And then finally I had to say, Lord, what do you want? Why are you messing with me? Some of you understand that God is just messing with you. You can't explain your life. You can't explain your destiny. You can't explain the issues you're having. You're a teenager and you're dealing with your sexuality. You're dealing with your own issues. You're dealing with your past. You're dealing with people that you don't know, your friends. You're dealing with all the stuff that's coming and going. And you have no way of explaining why God is still just messing with you. Tomorrow, tonight, later on, when you start hearing those voices, just say, speak, Lord. Say it, say, speak, Lord. And when he starts, see, God's going to start putting something inside of you. It might take 5 years before it comes out. But Satan's not going to do anything that's going to help you build the kingdom. When you say, speak, Lord, that's your code. That's your password. That's when God says, you got it. You got it. And whatever he's putting in there, guys, wait on it. Stop trying to live so fast. Enjoy being a kid. You heard what he said. Enjoy it. Make your mistakes now. You won't have to repeat them later, but you'll have some brand new mistakes later on. Your mom and your daddy, your grandparents, they've been praying for you. No, keep your hands up for just one more second. Because that's what I want you to do when you go to the bathroom, go in the closet, go in the room. I know it may not be G-style, it may not be cool, it may not have swag to do it in front of people, so I don't expect you to get in front of the church and do this yet. Remember Samuel, he talked to Samuel before he knew God. Now put your hands down, because I don't want to make this out of a show thing for you. This is not a movie, it's just real. But I didn't know this. I didn't know it as a boy, and I almost missed God. Because I thought he couldn't love me. and let me go through what I've gone through. You couldn't love me. But I had to learn in the middle of it to just say, speak. Speak to me. And when God spoke, I got pregnant with you. I didn't want you. I tried my best. Let me come clean with you. I tried my best to abort you. I tried my best to give you to another pastor, to another church, to another generation. I didn't want this. Lord, I can't deal with people every week. That's not my thing. I'm an evangelist. I got to go. But you kept kicking. I'm not talking about your parents, I'm talking about you. You kept kicking. Your seed was hiding. And then you started to bud. And I promise you right now, just like I didn't see your seed and I didn't see your bud, you don't see your future. But if you're standing up here right now, God says, I promise you I will speak to you and we're going to make a decree. You will be what I have planned for you to be. But you got to team up with me, because I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to shake up some things. Can you give at least 2 kids high five and say, let's get shook up? Tell them, let's get shook up.